So what to look out for as you read? Well, one of my favorite things to look out for, and the reason it's my favorite thing is because it does a lot of the things we just talked about. Um, One of my favorite things to come across are anecdotes, like little incidents and events through his life that give you a glimpse into the way that he thought or the way that he lived, right? I put a few of them in the book Inside the Soul of Islam, and I have to say it was a delight to come across these little stories and anecdotes and just relive them and rethink them, right? There are so many; it's like countless. But like, there's the story of when a cat fell asleep upon the robe of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he had so much love for animals and for creation that he didn't even want to wake the cat from its sleep, so he cut off his robe and let the cat continue sleeping. Right? It's amazing. Another story is there are so many, it's countless, honestly, literally countless. But there's the story when someone was insulting Abu Bakr and was insulting the Prophet. Abu Bakr was his best friend, right? And someone was insulting them both, and the Prophet was smiling. And then they were insulting them more, and the Prophet was smiling. They were insulting them more, and the Prophet was smiling. And Abu Bakr was remaining silent and not responding, and the Prophet was smiling. And then that person insults the Prophet even more, and then Abu Bakr got mad and responded. And then the Prophet ﷺ stopped smiling and he walked away. And then Abu Bakr said, "What is this?" Later on, he goes and asks the Prophet ﷺ, he says, "Listen, that person was insulting me and you were smiling, and then he starts insulting me and he insults you and it got so bad, and then I eventually respond and then you stopped smiling and you walked away. What's going on? Like, what kind of friend are you?" Right? Although he wouldn't have said it that way, but it's like, that's the undertone, right? What's happening here? And the Prophet ﷺ said something beautiful. He said, "When you were silent, the angels were here and they were responding on your behalf in the most beautiful and eloquent way. But when you got angry and you started responding, shaitan came and started whispering to you, and I don't want to be where the shaitan is, so I walked away." And so many beautiful anecdotes like that throughout his life, where he had spiritual insight and could see things in the unseen realm that other people couldn't see. And then there are a lot of incidents that come because of that. Okay, the idea is you're building a picture with each of these snapshots. Each of these anecdotes is like a snapshot that's showing you what he was like, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how loving he was. So you want to build a picture in your mind of who this most loving man, of the most loving man who ever lived, right? In a truly barbaric time. This is really a story of how a spiritually enlightened human being acts in a very barbaric world, right? And it's interesting that he was put in that context so that no matter how crazy things get for the rest of time, we'll know the path of the enlightened man during a barbaric time, which isn't always, which is surprising when you read it, how deep and insightful it is. Something else to look out for as you read. Was the messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just a postman? Right? There's a message. Because some people think of it that way. They downplay the role of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the extent where he's just a messenger. He's just a postman. His life is basically irrelevant. He's just a normal person like you and me. He got the message and he gave it to us. And now we've got the message so we can forget about him. Doesn't work that way. Why did Allah put the message in his heart first? You can't receive the Quran without going through him. Right? You cannot receive the Quran without going through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do I mean by that? You literally can't even learn how to recite the Quran without learning it from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do I mean by that? Well, we can't learn it from him directly because we can't speak with him directly anymore. But what happened is he taught it in a very specific, precise way to his companions, and they taught it in a specific and precise way to those who came after, to those who came after, to those who came after, down to today. So a scholar of the Quran has an ijazah in teaching you how to recite the Quran, and you learn it from them so that you recite it in exactly the way it was sent from the Prophet ﷺ. And there's a spiritual significance to this because it's not just sounds you're making. There's a transference of spiritual energy from heart. The Quran travels from heart to heart. It travels from heart to heart, not from book to student. Very important. So he was and so it had to be given to the most pure heart. He was more than just a postman, as you'll discover as you read his story. The more you understand him, the more you understand your own true nature and potential. And this is where we say light upon night, light, right? There's a beautiful surah of the Quran, Surah An-Nur, and there's a beautiful ayah, verse in that surah where it talks about a lamp. There's a niche in the wall and there's a lamp inside of it. And it's the idea as you read that ayah is that the there's a luminescent fluid, like a glow-in-the-dark liquid that's bright and beautiful. But when it's touched by a spark, it turns into a fire that produces an incredible amount of light. And one of the mufassirin, one of the understandings of the scholars of the Quran is that this ayah is a metaphor for the human being, that the heart of the human being is light. It's like this beautiful luminescent fluid, this beautiful, it's like oil, but it's like glow-in-the-dark oil. And it's this beautiful luminescent fluid. But then when it's touched by the spark of divine revelation, then it becomes the brightest fire, right? That's what sets your heart on fire. That's when you become a world changer. So you've already got light inside of you by your natural spiritual nature of your soul and your consciousness. And when that's touched by revelation, that becomes light upon light. When you know what he was like, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you can automatically rule out things that sound wrong, right? A lot of people make accusations about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's great just to be able to dismiss them because you just know it sounds, after you know his life story, that stuff sounds nonsensical. And oftentimes it's just things that people who never really studied him heard from other people who never really studied him as an excuse to do bad things. So it's like taking a little thing and twisting it. It's like a little bit of knowledge can be used for evil, but when you have a knowledge of how the whole picture works, it's not evil at all. It's actually the most beautiful thing ever. And what you'll discover the more you study the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, however good you think he was, he's even better. However beautiful you think his life story is, it's even more beautiful. So if there's any, so I want you to be in a position where you can just automatically rule out things that sound wrong. Like, you know what, the most loving person who ever lived, that wouldn't have been something that he did or said. You'll never understand the Quran without knowing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's just not feasible. Your understanding will always be tainted. It'll always be halfway there. You'll only ever get halfway there if you don't know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, the Quran is Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala's words revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's like we're reading in on this message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the context of his life, but it's sent for our benefit. But in order for us to benefit from it, we need to know what was happening in his life, which made it so significant that those verses and surahs were sent. If you enjoyed this video and want the full Quran for Busy People system to transform your connection with the Quran in as little as 11 minutes a day, go to QuranForBusyPeople.com and check out the free web class.